What's up, everyone? This is 3 Questions and a Song, episode number 116. We're coming at you on musicfrom412.com, buildascene.com, rootaroo.radio.com, and xrpradio.co.uk. Behind me, if you're not familiar, is the video channel from Music from the 412. Go to musicfrom412.com/apps, APPS. We have video apps, we have a radio station, we have on-demand video, all featuring bands from the Pennsylvania and surrounding areas. And we even have a segment called Get Out of Town, which is sponsored by Build a Scene, and you will hear bands like the one that I'm about to speak to. With me tonight on episode 116 is Jozey from Jozey and the Corruption. What's up, Jozey?
How's it going?
Not too bad.
All right.
So the video thing behind me is new. I think I like it. It's probably going to stay.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So I had a different way of doing it today, and then I was like, why am I doing too many steps? But we won't get into that. Anyone who knows what I'm going to talk about, there was a video capture card involved. It wasn't needed. So it's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah, about 2 years.
And for anyone who's not familiar with Jozey and the Corruption, they are out of Ohio. What city in Ohio?
We're in Akron. Yeah, Akron, Ohio.
Okay. I didn't want to say the wrong one. Did I ever tell you about my trip to Akron when I was in college?
No.
So I used to play lacrosse. I was a goaltender.
Okay.
And
it's big over here.
Played in the Rubber City tournament, and it was like February, and it had snowed and it was melting, so there was muck everywhere. And we were playing against this team from Canada. They were a junior B team, which is like a minor league lacrosse team.
Yeah.
And they had an attackman who, at the time, we called them old heads, which means they're about my age now. Okay. And he was cherry picking, and nobody could cover him. And I cross-checked him, which is legal in box lacrosse, which is what he played, but not legal in field lacrosse. And I buried his head in the mud and had to grab him by his ankles and pull him out of the mud. And nobody came after me. It was great.
Where were you guys playing?
On campus.
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you what the field was.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting trip. I was going through a drive-through at a fast food place. I think it might have been a Wendy's.
Okay.
Before the tournament. There was a tow truck in front of me, and the big metal piece that you drive the car over on fell off, and I drove over it.
Oh.
And I was driving my wife's, my girlfriend at the time, her grandfather's car. Whoops.
Yeah, I've got a couple friends at work, Mike, who might be listening, and he's big time into lacrosse. He was a really good high school player, and I guess his brother's like legendary up in Hudson and stuff. Yeah, they're all into lacrosse. So I've learned a thing or two about it the last couple of years.
Yeah, I played in college. I coached a couple years of girls' high school lacrosse.
Okay.
And then my twins were born, and that was the end of lacrosse.
My my brother-in-law and my two my niece and my nephew, they live in Maryland. It's huge down there, and they he played in college. The boy played in college, and then Jozey, her name's Jozey. She played up until college. She didn't play in college though. Yeah.
I didn't pick it up until college. It was a club team, clearly.
Yeah.
I was playing roller hockey with the ice hockey team, and ice hockey season started, and I needed something to do. And there was a sign that said men's lacrosse, no experience necessary. I said, I don't have any experience.
There you go. That's how I find every job I ever had. No experience needed.
So speaking of experience, I have to ask,
okay,
the title of the new album that we're going to play a brand new track off of is It Sucks to Be Second. So I feel like there's probably an experience there.
Yeah.
Number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first album was called One, and the first one did really well. And it got, we won on this blog out of California called Rock and Roll and Other Noises. We won the best EP of the year. We beat Billy Idol, Suck It, Billy Idol. And then, so we just decided, hey, the first album was pretty good. It's going to be hard to follow that up. And I've had the idea I wanted to name it number 2, kind of like that Led Zeppelin thing, but I wanted to add some flavor to it. So yeah, we're doing 4 EPs. I have them all laid out, all the names laid out for them, and they're all funny as heck.
If I recall, on number 1, the tracks that I've heard were kind of more like there was punk influenced rock.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Grip again. I've listened a handful of times since you sent it to me. This one feels more like arena rockish,
kind of, with a little southern feel to it, maybe. Yeah.
And so, like, how do you make that transformation? Like, what got you there?
Well, what's funny is the first 2 songs I wrote for Jozey and the Corruption back. The first time you had us on, I had Jeff Graham in the band,
yes,
when we started, we were definitely Jeff's a punker. And so we have that punk influence. But the first 2 songs we wrote were Sin City Outlaw off the first album, which definitely has that punk feel, and Grip.
I still have Sin City Outlaw in rotation. So.
That's awesome, man. I love that. It's also one of the funnest songs I've ever played to play live. Like that riff and the drum beat, you can't sit there and not be fired up when you hear Sin City Outlaw. You just can't. It's impossible. And anyhow, I wrote Grip at the same time, and Grip did not have that kind of punky feel, and we never kind of found where we wanted. And then one day, Jeff had come up with a chorus for it musically, and I changed the whole lyrics, and yeah, it definitely added that big kind of arena 80s rock and roll feel to it. I think like the intro lick has kind of got a southern rock feel. I don't know. It's just got a cool mix of everything that makes Jozey and the Corruption a little bit different.
Sorry, I was a little bit of pink there, but below me, it says corruptionakron.com.
There you go.
So you want to check that out, and we'll get into that a little bit more.
Yes.
So if I'm going to ask you some of my, I don't know if I've ever, did I ask you the pizza question?
You did ask me the pizza question last time. I was listening to that was a great interview, by the way. We had a blast that night. You and I had a blast that night. Yeah, you did ask me the pizza question.
Has it changed?
No.
Okay.
Did I say Fiesta?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Fiesta has been my favorite since I was a kid. I might have said something else that day, but Fiesta has been my pizza since I was a kid. Yeah. That's an Akron, Cuyahoga Falls. Everybody grew up eating Fiesta pizza and chicken.
There's this place in Pittsburgh called Slice on Broadway,
and
the slices are like this big.
Yeah.
And I was less than a mile from there this week, and I've never had it. And my daughter was with me, and I could not convince her that that's where we were going to eat. So we did the Pittsburgh thing, and we went to Permanis.
I ate when I was in the Marines way back in the day. I was in San Diego going to some school out there, and that was the funnest time I ever had. I won't get into stories, but that was one of the funnest times I ever had in the Marines. Anyhow, there was a pizza place there, and they were like a New York pizza joint, and they had the big, huge. You walk in, and for $2, you get a half a pizza, basically. Yeah, and you get a beer. It was one of those kind of things. Yeah, that was good pizza, man.
So tell me a little bit about is it an EP or is it a full length?
It's an EP. Yeah, so we decided instead of doing like one full length or 2 full lengths, we were going to have some fun and do 4 EPs. And, then we can kind of have some fun with the titles, and we can mix and match some songs and kind of, put together some stuff that's a little different. Plus, our goal is to go out on the road next year for a little bit, even if it's just a couple of weeks. And I always think it'd look a little better coming in and setting up a merch booth, and you got a couple CDs up there for sale and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, we're just having some fun. We're going to put out 4 of them. And then the other thing we're going to do in the fall is we're taking the first album.
I'm sorry, pause for a second and watch the video over my shoulder.
I know, man.
What's going on there?
Well, no, I thought that was Vanilla Ice for a minute playing drums. But
sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. That's awesome. So, yeah, we're going to take the first 2 albums, and we're going to make a vinyl and do a vinyl release. of the first two, and then we'll do the same thing with the next two. Just because I don't care if anybody in the world buys it. I have a great vinyl collection, and I want a vinyl album that says Jozey and the Corruption and has my stuff on it. So I don't care if nobody else ever buys one. I'm doing it for me. So
have you heard of Least of All Records?
I have not.
So it's like LEESTAV. I'll look it up. It's
Yeah.
in New York. It's in New York City.
Okay.
And what they do is they bring bands in and they record direct to the vinyl.
Oh,
And it's a one take. So like people will order ahead of time and give them a message, and the band will say something to the person. So it becomes a personalized copy, a one-off copy of that performance.
that's pretty cool.
That is, I want to say after all the shipping and everything, it was like $30, which is a little pricey, but I still bought it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what. So if you do like 1,000, let's say we do 1,000 of those albums, we'd have to sell them for like $20, $25 to make any kind of money. Even if like that, we'd have to do that and then hopefully sell, say 50 of them, you know, just to make our money back. But the guys and I already decided we don't care. We just want them.
There's a new vinyl press company in Pittsburgh. I think they're called Hellbender Vinyl.
Okay.
I don't know much about them other than I know Jeff Benton is attached to it, and he runs Misra Records, and there's another other record company that he's president of, but I can't remember the name.
I'll have to look them up, check them out. Yeah.
Very new. Like recently, in the last couple of weeks, I've seen it popping up on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to get the link from you and check those out.
So we know Grip is on there, and you have another one that you released already.
I Am Rock.
I Am Rock. What else is planned for that?
So we have a video for I Am Rock that'll be coming out in about 2 weeks. We had some issues.
You should send that to us.
I will definitely send it to you. It's pretty good. It came out pretty good. It was a hassle. We had some issues, but it came out good. So that'll come out in about 2 weeks, and then then after that, Grip will come out. We'll have a video out for that. We have a song called Feed It, which is definitely like 80s hair metal, classic rock kind of punky song. It's so catchy. You can't walk away from it without singing the chorus. Just like I feel the same thing with Grip and I Am Rock. I mean, that's my goal on any song I write is when you're done listening to it one time, you know the chorus and you can sing it. We played a show 2 years ago when the first album came out. We opened up for Angel at the Empire in Akron, and it was sold out. I mean, it was cool little place that's closed now, but really super cool. And we opened up anyhow. There's about 185 people in there. And when I left, or when I was getting ready to leave, there's a guy that came up to me and he said, "Hey, I came here to see Angel. I've never heard of you. I've never heard of the other bands that played tonight." He said, "When I leave tonight, I'm singing I Am Rock and I'm singing Cocaine for Breakfast." He goes, "I can't get those two songs out of my brain. I can't get them out of my head. I'm going to be singing those." And, that's exactly the reaction that we want. And I feel that Grip and I Am Rock and Feed It definitely have those. The other two songs are a little bit different, and they're not as made to be that kind of catchy. One's kind of more of a metal song, and one's kind of, I don't know what you call it. Faster Pussycat meets Megadeth. I don't know. Something a little bit different. Yeah.
A little bit different.
Yeah, well, if you've heard it, and like Joe Acosta out there right now watching this, he knows that's kind of how we describe it to each other. That's what it sounds like.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a break and listen to Grip, and we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Okay, so that was Grip from Jozey and the Corruption. We are back with Jozey. What's up, Jozey?
What's up?
I'm doing all kinds of button clicking.
So busy.
Yes. So in the background, I'm going to take Jozey and I off the screen again for just a second. I want everybody to take its moment and look at this photo, and we'll be right back. And for those of you on the radio, I know you can't see that photo. That's why I didn't leave it up for very long. But I am a photographer. I do take promo shots and gig shots of bands here in the Pittsburgh area. And I was telling Jozey off the air, this one is amazing. And because it's so amazing, I want Jozey to give a little shout out to the photographer.
Yeah, that's our boy Josh Richardson. He did all the photos for the first album. He did all the photos for this album. You can find him on he goes by Josh Rich on Facebook, and then I think he goes by J Rich on Instagram. I'll put a link up on our site so you can go to check him out. He does a great job, and he'll work with bands. He'll go where you want to go and do what you need done. He wow, we went around downtown Akron because we're from Akron. We try and put it in everything we do, and he was cool. He drove around with us wherever we wanted to go, did whatever we want to do, and he's a good buddy of mine, one of my best friends, and yeah, he's phenomenal. Thanks for saying that, man. He'll love to hear that.
So tell me a little bit about the song Grip that you haven't done yet, like a MTV storyteller's moment.
So yeah, it's about a breakup, and it's about a breakup that you're not necessarily into, that maybe you didn't choose for the breakup to come along, and it's some of the initial emotions that I was dealing with through that. And then as the song progressed, it's probably changed 25 times, but the lyrics have pretty much remained the same, other than we added the chorus used to just be kind of saying the grip, and it just didn't work. And I made up the new chorus, but it's based off the same thing. It's just, I don't write songs about I'm in love or I got dumped, or I write songs that listen to the first two albums, and this is the only one that's kind of like that. It's about trashy girls you meet in a bar, and it's about finding stuff to party with and stuff like that. And it's just this one was just about somebody that stuck in my head. I wrote the lyrics and had them around for a while, and just kept fine tuning them. You know what I mean?
Right, so I've been doing this a little bit on and off, but I'm looking over your shoulder. And I see there's a Rat Poison concert, maybe.
Oh, yeah, dude. I got
concert flyer, and what all you have hanging up there?
I got my little bar here. I got all kinds of cool stuff. I got the last show over here is the last show from the Empire, cool bar in town. I got that's LA Nights. I was in the band LA Nights. That's one of our shows there. That's the first Motley Crue show that they ever did at the Starwood, and I don't know how true it is, but I was told by the guy that gave it to me that he was a chef for Nikki Sixx for a while, that Nikki gave that to him. I don't know if I believe it. Either way, it's freaking cool that I got it. That's another show from the Empire, Lesson Zero. Yeah, there's a Guns N' Roses one back there at the Troubadour. There's one up here that we played with Gilby Clarke. That last year's CD release. Yeah, I got all kind. Yeah, there's a Rat Poison one right here. And then there's one from when I was in a band called Mob Scene. I don't know if you remember Mob Scene or not, but
I do not.
Yeah, back in the early 2000s. Yeah, it was a metal band. So I got all kinds of cool stuff up here. My little shrine to myself.
I did a Pennsylvania Rock Show episode 2 days ago with Terry Blair from Parabellum, and he was sitting in a room. And there were like 17 guitars in the room and one bass. And he's a bass player.
Every bass player wants to be a guitar player. Every bass player wants to be a guitar player. They may say they don't, but they want to. I keep all my guitars down the basement, or I have a couple hanging on the wall over there. So,
all right. So let's talk gear for a second. What's that one piece of equipment that you have to have, and if you forget it, you're going back to get it?
Well, I mean, I have a pedal board. I have two pedal boards that I use, so I'm not going to be able to play a show without one of my pedal boards for sure. Yeah, I would have to say one of those. I have one that's like cool old school pedals, you know, that you step on, and then I got one that's like my yeah, and
It
I
was
got
on
one
cue.
and I got one that's a line 6 and has all the pedals built into it, and you run it into your amp. I use those depending on what we're doing. If we're doing all originals, because sometimes I do covers in bands or whatever. If I'm doing all originals, I take my old school pedal board, and if I'm doing covers, then I take the line 6. Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
So just me noticing, this is Steve Hawk behind me. He has
Okay.
a brand new album coming out. I messed up the title of his song on the PA Rock Show 2 days ago.
Man,
The song is Above Me, and it's the very first song in that episode. So everyone should go check it out, listen to it. It's acoustic rock song, very cool. But I messed it up, so I'm going to throw it in here too, give it a little more love. So I'm going to ask you. We'll go with 2 more questions.
Okay.
We're
I'm getting more than my 3. I'm getting a good amount.
Yeah, that title means nothing. Someday I'm going to come up with the actual plan for this one and stick with it.
All right.
So you get to sit down at dinner with 3 people in the history of the world. So you can use a DeLorean and go back in time if you need to.
Okay.
What 3 people are you bringing to dinner with you, and why those 3?
Okay. Let me think about this for a second. I'm going to say Benjamin Franklin, because that dude had his hands in everything, man. He could. He's got to be one of the smartest guys to ever walk the world. I'd love to sit down and just hear how he found some stuff. So I would say him. Wow. President, this is going to sound crazy, but I just listened to a book. I listen and read to a lot of books, or read a lot of books. And I just finished one recently about Franklin Roosevelt, man. And that guy was just amazing for what he did for this country. I wouldn't mind sitting down with him. And then I'm going to add somebody for music, and I'm going to say I would love to sit down and talk to Jimmy Page about how it was to record that first album and do that second album, just the stuff that he did. Him and I were born on the same day. I just got a feeling that we'd have not the same day.
Right. Same day, different year.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than me, but we have the same birthday. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind. I mean, you know, that would be a good one. Yeah, that'd be an interesting meal.
So Ben Franklin was who you said for the first one, right?
Yeah.
So all those guys that are like entrenched in our history,
Mm-hmm.
they were all like late teens, early 20s, mid 20s when all that went down.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people realize that.
when I like Franklin's one of those guys that seemed like he was ancient because he looked ancient and because he wore himself down so much, but he wasn't really that old when he died. I can't remember how old he was right now, but yeah, those guys were way younger than we thought they were because they had the gray hair, and back then you lived to be 45 or 50 if you were lucky. So.
I'm gonna guess that we're both over that.
I'm definitely
over the 45 mark. I'm not over 50 yet.
I'm definitely past that. Yes, sir. Yep. But Nikki Sixx says you're only as old as the girl you're dating. My wife's 27, so I'm doing okay.
So Paul Cha from Black Ridge here in the Pittsburgh area. If you're not familiar with them, you should check them out. They're like a blues rock funk thing. It's so cool.
Yeah.
In fact, Black Ridge. And earlier when I was talking about the Least of All records, it's them. The one I bought is from them, Black Ridge.
Okay.
So his question is he wants you to ask Jimmy Page why he decided to steal all those old blues guys while you're having dinner with them.
Oh man, you should ask Robert Plant because he stole more from him than Jimmy Page did. But.
All right, so let's see. Last question for you. Let's see if I can come up with something.
All right.
See, it's hard when I've done 730 103, I think, episodes of the Pennsylvania Rock Show.
Yeah.
116 of this. It's hard to come up with new questions.
I understand.
Let me think. I'm going to ask you one that isn't new, but
okay.
All right. So you're standing at the corner at the crossroads.
Okay.
That Robert Johnson stood at
and
sold his soul to become the greatest blues guitar player of the time.
Right.
Why are you there waiting for Satan?
Wow. I think if I made that choice,
and I can reword that too, because I do teach at a Catholic school and I get it. Yeah. What's that one thing that's just out of your reach that you're still trying to obtain?
Yeah, I think. Well, if I'm going to go and do music, I'm gonna want to be able to write that perfect song. Like I'm a good guitar player. I'm a average singer. I pride myself on being a good songwriter to above average. I mean, I think I'm pretty good songwriter. I think that if I was going to do that, it would be to be able to write an amazing album, an album that would live in infamy forever, something that would just be, my legacy, and just leave that for everybody to remember me by. Writing songs. Yep.
I like it. And there are so many albums that you can rattle off that, Led Zeppelin stuff and,
Boston's
Pink
first
Floyd,
album.
Boston, even Kiss's Destroyer. There are so many songs off of there that they were still playing when they finished.
For sure. And those, you get that one album. I would just love to have that one album. Yeah.
But all right, well, Jozey, I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
All right. Do I get to ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question. Who do you think who's your favorite guitar player?
In a signed band or an unsigned band?
I don't care. My favorite guitar player right now, I mean, I love all the guys I've always loved, but one of the guys that I love to watch right now is Curran Murphy from 72 Legions, and now he's out on tour with Venom. Every time I watch that guy, I want to break my guitars and walk away. He's just amazing. He's the guy that also produced our albums.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with a local guy, and you might even know him.
Okay. It's not John Lane, is it?
No. It's Mike Pallone from the band Skell.
Oh yeah. Him and I've never met and hung out, but I've seen him play with Skell.
And it's close second, I would go with Paul Peterson from Big House Pete.
Okay.
You can almost interchange them. Different styles, but both are phenomenal.
You know who I've been listening to lately? You remember Blues Sarceno? He played with Poison for a minute. He was a young kid. He took CT's place. Yeah, he's into that dark gothic country blues rock thing that's going on. And I've been listening to him lately. It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna throw out another local guy.
All right.
And it's because Paul's in the chat room. So Paul is a guitar player in Black Ridge. He writes all the music.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to say Paul. I'm going to say his cohort, Joey Connor, who is really, really young. And I say that because I went to school with his dad. But
okay.
Let's see if Paul pipes in. Maybe he'll give us a guitar player that he's interested. Well, he checks out.
I'll tell you who my favorite drummer is right now. My son. He's out there taking on the world. He's played with. He toured Europe with 72 Legions. He finished up. I don't know if you ever listened to Inhuman Condition out of Tampa. It's the guy from Obituary and Deicide, and he played drums for them on tour. I just went to Puerto Rico and saw them play down there a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he's tearing it up. He's only 21 years old, and he's a badass. We're writing an album together.
I think the last time you were on, he had just started playing with the band, maybe.
Yeah, he had just joined 72 Legions. Yeah, just graduated 2 years ago. Yep.
I don't know if Paul was going to answer us.
Well, if you want to answer.
But hey, well, let's I'm going to let you ride off into the evening.
I appreciate it, man.
So everyone, make sure you check out Jozey and the Corruption. It's thecorruptionakron.com.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a release date for that EP?
So the EP, you can get it on Bandcamp. You can buy it on Bandcamp. That's the only place that it's available right now. We're going to release the other Grip and Feed It first as singles. I learned on the last album that you can't get selected to get on certain playlists if it's not a brand new release. So release the singles first, then we're going to release the whole EP. So I would assume that'll be out in October or so, the whole thing. But you can go on Bandcamp and buy it and download it, and then in 2 weeks it'll be on our website. You'll be able to go on there and buy the physical copy.
Okay. So make sure you do that. Head to thecorruptionakron.com. And if you're in the Akron area and you're in a band, look, share some shows with Jozey and the Corruption, and get some contact information for his photographer, because again, that guy's phenomenal.
Yeah, Josh Richardson, man, he's awesome. Hey, Bill, we appreciate you. You're always behind us and supporting us. It's the third time you've had me on. I appreciate it big time, man. I know that it's really meant a lot to me and to my band. We really appreciate what you do, and I hope everybody else out there is feeling the same way.
I have fun with it, and I learn different things, like today's video behind me.
And I didn't say the F word tonight, Bill.
I know. I better disconnect. With that, make sure you check out 3 Questions a Song on the 1st and 15th of each month. And every Monday night, I am on the interweb everywhere with the Pennsylvania Rock Show. You can check them all out at buildthescene.com. You'll find all our affiliate radio stations and all that stuff there as well. My name is Bill. Make sure you check us out. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. Jozey and the Corruption.